Hello, welcome to the Ukrainian Studies Organization. My name is Natalia Shpulova-Said, and thank you so much for attending our talk today. We have the opportunity of speaking with Ievgen Klopotenko about Ukrainian cuisine. And let me just mention a few words to introduce Ievgen. Ievgen Klopotenko is a renowned Ukrainian chef, and in 2015, he became a winner of the popular Ukrainian TV show, MasterChef Ukraine. He also authored culinary books, and he also hosts a cooking program. Ievgen Klopotenko appears on many popular TV shows in Ukraine, and he owns his own restaurant that has a very interesting name, 100 років тому вперед, 100 years back forward. I believe this is a English version. Hello, Ievgen. Again, thank you for joining us today. Welcome.
Yeah, hello everyone. The restaurant you translate nice, but it's like back in the future, something like that. It's 100 years back in the future. Like
okay, I see. That sounds much better. That sounds much better than my translation. So today our format will be a little bit different. Usually we start with the lectures, but today we'll start with our conversation with Ievgen. Please feel free to submit your questions right away in our Q&A section. And I see that we already, have the first greeting from Irina Voloshyna. Доброго дня. It's not actually a question, but I believe we can start with probably a key question. What is Ukrainian cuisine and how would you describe Ukrainian cuisine? And I believe it's a very broad question because if we ask a Ukrainian what is Ukrainian cuisine or Ukrainian food, it will be one answer. If we ask someone who lives outside Ukraine, this answer will be quite different. But how would you introduce Ukrainian cuisine?
Oh, it's not easy to introduce because it has a huge story, and it's like complicated just to tell in one word. But I think that Ukrainian cuisine is a very young cuisine, very energetic cuisine, and cuisine which can be interesting in the future for the people, because our cuisine was hidden for the 100 years, maybe near 100 years because of USSR, and it was like hidden, and it was just waiting for now for like me and a lot of different Ukrainian chefs start to discover what is Ukrainian cuisine, start to discover different Ukrainian ingredients, different Ukrainian products which are not well spread in the world, which are very unique, but you cannot even buy them in the shops now, in Ukraine shops. So this means that in 5 years you will have opportunity to buy, and maybe in 10 years it's going to be all around the world. So actually we are staying in the line to be one of the best culinary country in the world. We just stayed in line because you know about Italian cuisine, everything. You know about how you can impress someone by Italian cuisine. You just cook nice pasta and that's all. You know US cuisine, yes. You know Japanese, you know Mexican cuisine. It's everything what you know. But when you start to speak about Ukrainian cuisine, you know nothing at all about that. Maybe you know only one dish is called borshch. It's the main leader, our biggest boat in this ocean of food development. And actually, for me, it's interesting for that it's everything new techniques, new products, and but it's if it is to speak from the view of the chef. But if you will speak about the Ukrainian cuisine from the view like just a normal person who eats it every day, I would say that it's a combination of high carbonated products in a combination of modern ecological tendencies. So it's like you can eat a very fat potato, but then you eat it without the sugar because it's like not good to eat a sugar, but it's still high carbonated. So it's like a combination of the best, with the worst the worst parts of the best we took, and we add the avocado, we add different new ingredients. So it's like I think Ukrainians eat it every day.
Well, in fact, yesterday I came across this piece of information, and correct me if I'm mistaken, that other chefs in Ukraine, including you, signed some agreement or some document that is dedicated to the renovation or rediscovery of Ukrainian cuisine and Ukrainian cooking techniques in particular. And it was driven by this idea that on a general level, Ukrainian food is associated with home cooking.
Yeah, the main idea of the Ukrainian chefs, they all are young. They all very young because the tradition to be a chef, the culture to be a chef is like only for the last 5-6 years, and we were like in kindergarten because like we were quarreling all the time about who can cook better or who not. It's like normal in kindergarten. You do the same, but by signing this manifest, it means that we now in school we like in some high class, and we decided that we will be together, that we will help each other, and if we will help each other, it will help for Ukrainian gastronomy to be famous in the world, to be famous in Ukraine. And yes, for now, for home cooking cuisine. The same Italian, actually, it's a home cooking cuisine, but the main things that we don't know what is that Ukrainian cuisine. And by signing this manifest, we decided that now we understand what is that Ukrainian cuisine, how we will develop, what is the main key points, where we should go, what is our aim. So it's like a first big document in Ukraine gastronomy to make it famous again.
We have some questions in our Q&A box, but before I get to those, just a follow-up question on what you just you mentioned about signing this manifest. What will it do? So by signing this manifest, what would you like to proclaim, or what would you like to initiate in terms of maybe identity formation, or in terms of how Ukraine, not just Ukrainian cuisine, but Ukraine is represented on the global or international level? And I think it's somehow tied to this initiative which that you started a few years ago with borshch, when unfortunately borshch for many years was represented as a Russian soup. And of course, Ukraine is represented in a way if borshch is represented as something traditionally.
Yeah. Actually, I started the campaign with the borshch because I understood that if I will not start it, our neighbors will take it. So if you wanted to, it's like it's the thing to save our dish, to save our main dish is like a borshch. And I understood that it's easy. People react very good. So when I started, first I was working with different products, with different dishes. But people was reacting like not good because they didn't understand when I was trying to make, like when I was trying to work with some old products. People didn't know what is that, and they were like reacting like I don't care. But when I told that I will save the borshch, people start to support me, and they had a huge support, and they put the borshch in the government level, on the government level, and it started to be like an official national borshch of Ukraine, because before that it was not official, and nothing official was telling that it's ours. But now we have a document that's telling that it's our national heritage, and the next step is a heritage of the world. It should be recognized by UNESCO organization, which is by United Nations organization. Yeah. So and after that, people one journalist wrote that one famous chef in Ukraine opened the second war with Russia, started to fight at the level, and people from all around the world started to call me to take interviews, like what is happening, why you did it, and it was like very, very interesting thing. And during this company, and I understood that I started to learn different world cases, how the cuisines started to be famous. And now I have, because of the borshch, I have a strategy how to change the attitude of the people of the world, people to Ukrainian cuisine, and now I'm doing that every day, just step by step, step by step.
Yeah, just from those observations that I made here in the States, this story about the heritage of borshch, or that borshch is actually essentially Ukrainian dish, was covered by major newspapers here in the States.
Yeah.
So then I'll get to the question from Olga, and my apologies if I mispronounced the name, Kalentsidu. You mentioned that the cuisine is new, yet it is widely known in the US and Canada through its dishes and foodways. Could you talk about this a bit? As a follow-up, are you framing the new cuisine in terms of local ingredients or just new chefs trained in the West?
Oh, very nice question. I understand people, but when I say that Ukrainian cuisine is new, everyone can say like it's not new because it was like for 500 years even. But what I think, what I'm trying to say is that Ukrainian cuisine was Ukrainian cuisine was developing like all cuisines in the world in a normal way. But when the 20th century started to be, when we start to have the USSR here, that food was hidden, and actually it started to be here USSR food style, and this means that all the famous dishes, the dishes that people were eating all the time. And just if you want to understand, you can imagine if now in US tomorrow you will not have the steaks, you will not have the burgers, you will not have the Chinese food, you will not have it, you will not have Italian food, but some new type of food will be created, and in 70 years you will think that that's normal food, but burgers and all the things will be in the past. So what I'm telling that in all around the world, the Ukrainian cuisine, there is like a lot of different restaurants, but mostly it's Russian restaurants, and not much as Ukrainians. And the potato puree, which is a famous Ukrainian dish, it came from the US, came from the France, and it's actually a French dish. The same as famous Ukrainian salad, which called vinaigrette, is the combination of the beetroot and some actually vinegar. It came from the France, and like 70% of a dish which we are calling that it's a famous Ukrainian is like a fake Ukrainian, because there was no information what is real Ukrainian, what is not. Even we have vareniki or pierogi, maybe in US you know good them. It's even we think that it's Ukrainian, but it was created in Turkey, and it's not even ours. So there is a big mythology about Ukrainian cuisine. That's why some people can tell that that's Ukrainian dish, but if you will go if you will dig in the history, if you will check, you will understand that a lot like 70% of dishes are not Ukrainian, as they came from us from, I don't know, they came to us from, I don't know why. And that's what I'm calling new cuisine. That for example, we were not using white beetroot, but it was well known, and a lot of people use it. We are not using, for example, beetroot kvass. It's fermented beetroot juice, but it was before the USSR. It was like well spread. Everyone was drinking that, and the borshch, our famous dish, was cooked by this kvass. If you say about brinza, it's from Carpathian Mountains, very famous cheese. You cannot buy in a shop this product, and this means that a lot, like a huge amount of different products you cannot buy now because it was hidden. But now chefs are trying to work with the local ingredients, and a lot of chefs like a half of chefs, they were training by themselves, by the internet, because in Ukraine there is no good schools still now, and few, like half of chefs went to the West for a trainee. But so it's like it's like a nice combination of if you don't know the real rules of the culinary, if you don't have the education of the chef, you can create everything new. That's why you open the book of the old Ukrainian like recipes which were like before the revolution, or the like 100 years ago, and you see there the old techniques, different things. You understand that Ukrainian cuisine was vegetarian cuisine, and actually Ukrainian were vegetarians, and now we are like the country who eat every day two times a day we eat meat. So it's hard to understand how it happened. So that's the main idea, just to clean all these mythologies and to create new mythology about what is Ukrainian cuisine.
Mm-hmm. Could you talk a little bit about your restaurant and about those techniques that you probably experimenting with in your cooking? I saw this collaboration with David's been here. He visited your restaurant and he tried some food that you prepared for him, and it was quite experimental. Could you talk about those experiments a little bit, and what's the idea of those experiments?
Quite experimental. It means it was crazy, yeah? Quite experimental. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to sell or to make famous Ukrainian cuisine through the crazy experiments. Because if I will take the ribs in Ukraine, we cook the ribs, or just cook the meat in this beetroot kvass, you will just feel, I don't know, you will feel just understandable taste, like it's a bit of beets, a bit of meat, and nothing so special. So what I'm trying to do in Ukraine, I'm trying to put some interesting thing. For example, I'm using the bees, dead bees, that it's called podmore. It's actually the bees which I'm not killing them, I'm buying them at the pharmacy, because it's people's medicine, and in Ukraine we add in vodka a lot of these bees and then drink to cure ourselves. So I'm using the bees. I'm adding, for example, some parsley. I'm adding some oil, and I'm making pesto, something like pesto. Mm-hmm. And now you have very sharp. You have the ribs with this kvass, and then a bit pesto of bees. And when you eat, you think, what is that? Why it's so strange combination? But you will remember this combination, and you will remember this meat with the bees. So if you want to impress, if you want to just to tell people like, watch here, it's Ukrainian cuisine, it's good. Yeah, maybe it's strange because you never heard about these recipes. You should put something provocative. And when you I have in my restaurant, for example, very famous famous Ukrainian sausage. It's called Zinkivska sausage, but if you will just put on the table, it's like just sausage with the blood, nothing so special. So if you want to make the sausage popular, you should take the chocolate dessert and put their sausage. And when you see in the menu chocolate dessert with the sausage, what is that? And they say it's a famous Ukrainian sausage, which is called Zinkivska sausage. And the people start to understand that, oh yeah, really, it's a real good sausage. So if you just want to promote something, you should I'm doing that in creative way, because I think it's the easiest way to provocate people a bit. You're making provocation, and people start to think, start to know something new, start to learn.
Yeah, I remember David's reaction to that dish with bees, and yes, indeed, he was impressed. When we try something different, so to speak, right, it makes us ask ourselves what we like, right, and who we are as well. So in some sense, it is connected with how we discover our identity, or how we construct our identity as well. We have a couple of questions. Do you think Ukrainian food has a disadvantage in the West because it has been heavily associated with Russian cuisine, and people think that the restaurants that serve it are expensive, as many Russian restaurants are? This is, of course, not always the case, but a general held belief.
Yes, that's one question. It's one thing that but okay, we should start not with the cuisine. We should start with understanding what is at Ukraine. And our international relation ministry were doing I don't know how to call it. They were asking the people in the US in Australia and in Japan, and like they took 5 countries, like just several like different people. What do you think about Ukraine? To tell 5 things about Ukraine. And the problem is that a lot of people just they don't know where is Ukraine situated. You know, if just you if you will open the map, you will find. But a lot of people don't know that. They know about war in Ukraine. They know about Zelensky and the Trump impeachment was and they know about Chernobyl and the Klitschko and now borshch. So it's like the 5 things which people know. So it's hard even not only association about Ukrainian and Russian cuisine. It's association about Ukraine and Russia. That it's like in the same language. What language Ukrainians speak? So and that's why this is the biggest problem, and all the processes which are held now in Ukraine, we are trying to understand who we are really. So what I'm doing that in food, a lot of for example, clothes designers, they're trying to understand what is the style of what is Ukrainian real style. The style, a lot of people trying to speak Ukrainian, not only Russian. So and we're trying to understand what is our music. So we was one country, and now we don't want to be together with Russia, and we want to understand what is everything 100% our identity. And that's why the cuisines was similar, because we was one country. It's normal, and all country society could eat the same dishes. And yes, now like even 10 years ago, when Ukrainian person want to open the restaurant, for example, in Chicago, or maybe a restaurant in I don't know, somewhere in California, if I were like just 10 years ago and I would open the Ukrainian restaurant in California, I would put also the vinaigrette, the puree, the different things. I was thinking that it is Ukrainian cuisine, and now is the idea. Now we already know what is that, like chefs know, and the next step is to start to open different restaurants in US and to show and start to show that, hey, this is Ukrainian, it's not Russian, and it's not expensive, and it's not about only drink vodka and eat something like that. And my friend, I think soon in Washington we will have first Ukrainian restaurant. We have in Chicago, we have in Veselka in New York, we have the few restaurants, but it's like a combination of some maybe Russian food, and I think in a future, like this year, I think in the end of this year, we will have like one real Ukrainian restaurant where it's going to be real Ukrainian cuisine, and it will be the start of Ukrainian cuisine in the world, I think.
Looking forward to it. So a question from Svetlana Melnik. Where do you get traditional Ukrainian recipes? Ivan Kotlяревsky's in Eneida mentioned many traditional Ukrainian dishes. Have you had a chance to learn more about these dishes?
Yeah. Like actually, we are speaking now about Eneida is the first Ukrainian literature book, because it was written in Ukrainian. Before that, all the authors, they were writing like with the Russian language. They were using Russian language, and this one is the first Ukrainian book. And actually, this book was an inspiration for me, because there I found like 140. Maybe 145, I don't remember still, but I found just the names of the dishes. Like the guy told that after the fighting, we were eating like some new dishes, and I was like, "What is that? I never heard about that." So if you will open this all recipes, maybe 20 of them you have heard, but like 120 you didn't. And it was the first point when where actually I start to discover Ukrainian cuisine. If you know this the detective serials where you have the board, and then you have the dots, and then you have this red, I don't know how to say it, red line, and you can connect everything. After Eneida, I start to discover, and I found only 3 books actually, which are connected to Ukrainian cuisine. And one was Olga Franco. It's a wife of a son of a famous Ukrainian writer Ivan Franko, and she wrote down a lot of books, and also was Klinovecka. It also the same one, famous lady but actually nobody knows that she exists or not. maybe it's like some guys, some historical people just wrote down the recipes, and they gave the fake name for some lady, and they start to sell this book because they don't want to USSR kill them. So actually 2 books, and I started to read. I started to check all the materials about like when 2 famous people, they had this messaging by the letters, and I wrote this all their messages, and I found some recipes. So it was like a big job before that, and now it's helped me to understood what is the real recipes, how they were like how they were cooked, how they were performed. Then I cook them all, and now I started like to promote them in the world.
But this question about the connection between food and literature is quite interesting, because it is also connected with this idea about identity. And I would like to mention Gogol and his Sorochinsky Yarmarok on the one hand, and Dead Souls on the other hand. In Dead Souls, we won't have all that enumeration of Ukrainian dishes or Ukrainian food that we can find in Sorochinsky Yarmarok. And I think that somehow he plays with his 2 identities, Ukrainian on the one hand and Russian on the other. We have a question from Sofia Asher. For decades, Ukraine learned to cook from Ukrainian Julia child, Daria Yakimna Tsvek. Could you comment on her contribution to the development of Ukrainian cuisine?
Yes, Daria Tsvek is I think the famous, it's not like Julia child, because Julia child, she was cooking everything. And she was studying at Le Cordon Bleu, and then in the famous culinary cuisine and the culinary school. And then she started to be she started to performing a lot of TV. She was actually the first lady who was like cooking on TV. So she was the person, like the biggest person. Daria Tsvek, it was the same big person, but it's not. I would not compare her with the Julia Child, because it's totally different stories. And Julia Child is a famous for a bakery, and it's from the one hand. From the other hand, she's not like was cooking Ukrainian cuisine. Yeah, she was cooking Ukrainian cuisine, but it was West Ukrainian, Halitska is called Halitska region. So she was cooking. We have like a Crimean Tatarian cuisine, we have Halitska cuisine, and we have like Jewish people who is on Odessa cuisine. So actually, it's a Ukrainian cuisine, yeah, but it's like nationalities or some group of people. So she has a lot of. She has a lot of cookies, a lot of different bakery things, and really it's the oldest one. And all the time when I want to cook something like old from the bakery, I'm using the Daria Tsvek, because I don't know, she was actually great lady. But if you will read only her books, it's hard to tell for all Ukraine. It's only like a west part of Ukraine. But if we speak about the Nida Klinovecka, it's much more. It's like all around Ukraine and less West Ukraine. So you should have like four books. You should combine it together, and in the end, you will understand that it's nice. You can take it and you start to cook it, but you say that it's from the west of Ukraine. And if you take the cheburek, if you take Crimea Tatar cheburek, you cook it, you say, it came from the Crimea.
So in a way, food can be some way to get in touch with this diversity, cultural diversity, which is imminent in Ukraine. But from this cultural diversity, cultural entanglements of many things, I would like to move forward to Soviet heritage. And I know that you have your initiative to introduce new recipes in the school catering system, and there are some controversial responses to this initiative. But there is an old joke about Soviet cooking. I don't know if we can use the word cuisine here. There were two spices in the Soviet Union, salt and black pepper. So can you comment on this initiative and how it goes and what inspired you?
I just don't want to live in a country where we have like a USSR heritage everywhere. It's nice to have a USSR heritage because it was a part of this country. It's like nice, no problem, because it's our history. but it was all around everywhere, and I don't want to eat this high carbonated all the food which are actually dead, and you should eat that food. I'm not sure about that I want to do. I know that in a lot of countries people still eat like a very high carbonated and not tasty food, but I want in my country to change it. And they have and they started to, and they went to the schools. I understood that if you wanted to change the parents, it's you wanted to change some grow up people, it's hard, because if I'm 35, I know what I eat, I know why I eat, and I don't care who are you, what are you speaking about, and why I should now start to eat what you think that is good. So nobody actually listening, so like a lot of people listening to me, but like mostly not. That's why I just went to the schools. I saw that people, that the younger brains, they are free of the information. And if you will put, you will put in these brains the information about the healthy, information about the food taste, about Ukrainian cuisine, about the world cuisine, which like actually were no like world cuisine in our school before. So and when you graduate from the school, and I tell you, will you be, do you want to have some minestrone? People were afraid, like I'm quarreling them, like what is that minestrone, what is carbonara, what is that even Caesar salad, like nobody still now, like a lot of people don't know what is that, and they think that it's some awful stuff. So it's not okay at all. So I want to change it. That's why I came to these schools, and now like already for the five and a half year, I created like a book for near 200 recipes, and now I'm working with the first lady. And on government level, we changed the old nutrition rules, and now it's one of the best in the world, and it's even better than in the US. The nutrition rules, and it's like the I think one of the best in the world, because it's like brand new. Because it was like only just like a few months ago, it was they implemented. And now what I'm trying to do, I'm working with all the cooks who are now in the kitchens, and they're afraid to add this different oregano, and they say that it's allergic, that the children will die because of oregano, and if you add cumin or turmeric, if you will eat the spices, you will die. So it's like a lot of different things, and now I have a lot of big wave of the hate, because people hate me, because they should change, and because of the government they should change, but they hate me. I don't know why, but it's okay. Now I start to be like a face of this reform, but there is like a lot of schools which already changed the menu, and they have like children in the schools. Children start to eat restaurant food, and for them it's like, why it could be, it's whoa, it's magic. But yeah, in a lot of schools still a lot of problem, but I'm working with that. I think 2, 4, 5 years need more to renovate all the canteens, to tell to the ladies who is cooking that it's not oregano will not kill you, and rosemary, it's not a poison. Rosemary is nice to infuse the taste, and you can use the sauces, different sauces. So it's like a big campaign what I'm doing this now, and now I have like very hot stage, but it's okay. So.
So how would you, in general terms, describe this change in terms of food preferences in Ukraine since 1991? Well, on a general level, food in the Soviet Union wasn't very sophisticated. Of course, for the exception of just a couple of cases of those people who could afford something more sophisticated. But I'm speaking about some collective level, about those people who had to wait in line for hours, for example, to buy something special for holidays. But since 1991, did food preferences in Ukraine change on a general level?
It's so hard question, because it's like a very hard question, in that way that you can just check it by some different points, but you never can understand real situation. How I checking if something changes? There is like few things very interesting, creative. I think I have the master classes. Sometimes I go just to some shop. It's like a shop where it's just normal people just buying products for the week or maybe for a day, I don't know, to eat at home. It's like not expensive shops, it's just general shops. And like 5 years ago, when I was doing masterclass, I was saying that now we're taking couscous and adding some mint. For the people, it was like couscous. We don't know what is that. Now, one month ago, when I was in the shop and I was performing the masterclass, and I told that let's take couscous, and everyone says, yeah, it's nothing new. We know. All the old ladies, old guys, like you guys, like everyone, different ages, people, for them, couscous now it's okay. Then the same with avocado. It's like everyone knows about avocado and they eat it. Like a lot of people start like it was like one point that tells me that changing is. Second point is that in shops start to sell the products which are healthy. Like we start to eat a lot, like even you can go to the small village and you can buy the product from with some organic or some healthy. That means that we start to think about our health, because if you just go to a shop, you understand that. Third point is that in Ukraine, we ate a lot of salads with the mayonnaise and salad. This was our love forever. But I have site. My site where I have recipes. I have like 1.5 million unique people in Ukraine every month visiting that. And this year before New Year, the most famous, like the most popular part which people were searching, it was salads without the mayo. That means that something is changing. I have to I have to say that all around the world, people want to eat some bad food, and it's normal. So we will never be healthy nations. I say healthy nation. I think there is never will be existing healthy nation in the world. So how changed our food environment? So we start to eat a bit less pizza and a bit less sushi as it was before, because we start to eat more Georgian and more Italian cuisine. Like it's okay, it's good. We start to think about health. Still at home, we eat a lot of high carbonated food, but like we are trying to change. But we should understand, everyone, that the main idea is how much people can earn. So the healthiness of the food is about this pyramid Maslow, which is saying that first of all you should have the money to eat, then you should be in a safety, and then you can think about changing what you eat. So the more Ukraine wealthy country will be, the more people will be thinking about food, and the food will change. If we will have no money, we will never change. Because when you have not much money, you think just to eat, not like what quality of food, just about the food. So we changed. I think like 20 in my horrible opinion. I think maybe 20% of people changed their view, their food habits, and 80% is still like not changed, but it's a process.
And just a few words maybe about food tourism. What are the prospects for food tourism in Ukraine, and maybe for Ukrainians abroad as well?
It's okay. For now, it's very interesting situation that no tourists in Ukraine, because all the countries said not to go to Ukraine. So food tourism, the same as a part of tourism, now it's not a very good situation. But let's imagine that everything okay, we have no war and tourists are back. So we have a huge potential, because you saw these chefs, like you told us that yesterday we signed the big manifest, and the chefs understanding that they have to work to make the restaurants good. In Ukraine, ministry, there is like a 1.5 years ago appeared the national national tourism organization, and this means that they start to work. They start to have the budgets to change the gastronomy, to work with the chefs, to make some policies, how it should be, to have some connections with different countries, and they signed the contract with Saudi Arabia, and this year it was 100,000 of tourists from this country. So I think the perspectives are very good because the restaurants are changing. We're trying to give more services. Low costs are in Ukraine. A lot of tourists want to come to us because they interesting. What is that? They never when you go to Tanzania, it's interesting because you never was there, but you heard about Tanzania, what they eat in Tanzania, how they live, how they speak. It's interesting, and you go there. The same in Ukraine. You heard about Ukraine, something. Maybe you heard about borshch. Let's go and try some borshch, but something interesting happening there. So that's the main idea that someone could call us, and I'm a part of people who is calling Ukraine New Berlin, or it's a combination of Berlin and New York, but in small level, because we didn't have a freedom, and now we have a freedom, and we can do everything. And because of this freedomness, we start to create like a different, interesting, a lot of things. And I think future is very nice, if just not our neighbor.
We've got a couple of more questions. Can you see patriotism effect in the consumption of Ukrainian food by Russians, or vice versa, similar to when some Americans stopped eating French fries when France refused to back the Iran invasion? Or are the food cultures too intertwined? Very informative talk and discussion. Thank you.
Just 1 second. I should reread it. Can you see the effect of consumption of Ukrainian food by Russians? Yes, or vice versa, similar to when the Americans stopped eating French fries. No. It's interesting question about the patriotism. Actually, in Ukraine, from after the revolution of 2000, after our last revolution, the first half a year was like a information that don't eat the Russian product, and now it's situation not like that, but mostly people don't use the Russian products, not buying them. Some Russian companies went to the Europe, and they put oh, it's not Russian company, we are producing in Europe, but we know that it's Russian company. So patriotism there is, but it's about just buying the products. If telling not to eat the Russian products the same, Russian dishes the same, because people starting to eat less only Russian salad, less all this Russian US products, but it's not like a huge amount. In fact, there is only one. We are trying, not someone is buying, but most of Ukrainians are not buying Russian products, and that's how we are patriotic, but not with just some parents. Yeah, we are not eating actually sheep. We're not eating the Russian. Yeah, but we were not eating it before. The main problem is not that we do not eat Russian, but because Russians has the same problem. They don't know what is the Russian dishes, because they took all this USSR heritage, and USSR heritage was the mix of different countries and different nations. And what is it? Khachapuri, for example, oplov, it's a Georgian cuisine. You have some borshch, Ukrainian cuisine. You have some a lot of different dishes are combined there. So we don't have actually here the Russian food, and it was never here Russian food. It was USSR food, and but you are not fighting against USSR, you're fighting against Russia. We can speak about that from different types of views. So it's not so easy as you say, Ukraine and Russian. It's mostly we have two wars: Ukraine, USSR, and Ukraine, Russia, and
Interesting. Well, we have another question about the borshch. Is there?
We have two questions up. I think you didn't read about the Kyiv Rus and Moscow Russian language.
Yeah, that was the comment on the language.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
And the previous one was somehow connected with this. patriotism as well. So in Natalka Kravchuk is their recipe for borshch that today would be considered traditional Ukrainian that may represent all regions. And is this correct that you collected around 45 recipes for
more. That's
than
a book. I collected like a lot of recipes, and in the end, I created a formula of borshch. It means that there is no recipes; there is only one formula, and you use people in the Ukraine use this formula. But they have to do different recipes. We have like 8 million families we have, so we have 8 million dishes, but 8 million recipes of borshch, and every year it happens. Near 400,000 families appears. Yeah, I think so. So it means that 400,000 recipes of borshch every year appears and registered. I don't want to have only one recipe of borshch and to consider that it's Ukrainian. I would rather say that I want to say the tradition and culture, like how deep this borshch in our culture, in our veins, like how deep we use it. So we use it like Big Mac index. It's index how much Big Mac costs. The same we have borshch index in Ukraine. We will soon have a monument of borshch. We will soon have the street of borshch. We will have like a different. We have different proverbs. Like it means that ne borshch. It means like in our do not use a lot of borshch. So it's like a very deep in our way of living this product, this dish. That's why it's not good. It's not a proper way to say only one recipe. But still, we will have the day of borshch. It's going to be National Day of Borshch. And during the day, I have an idea. Just people cook different types of borshch in their regions. Like each region has one borshch. Then, like winner of this region, and this winner come to Kiev or to other city. And there is like a championship of this borshch. 25 regions of Ukraine cook borshch, and some chefs, maybe I don't know who, they can make the blind degustation, and they will check. They will find the best recipe, and maybe the recipe of next year of the borshch. And next year going to be one more championship, and that's how we can have like every year we can have one more recipe, like one official recipe of borshch for this year.
That's a wonderful idea. I really appreciate this idea of diversity that should be kept even with the recipes. And I feel the same way about vareniki, because I come from Cherkasy, from the central region, and I used to steamed vareniki, not boiled vareniki. So boiled vareniki are kind of strange to me, and I appreciate steamed vareniki much more than boiled. But anyway, both of them are a part of our traditions as well, culinary traditions as well. We've got
but you should understand that the vareniki is like not Ukrainian dish.
Oh, that's don't break my heart here.
I'm telling you, and but the Ukrainian is not about vareniki, it's about the feelings. So vareniki with the poppy seeds and vareniki with the cherries is Ukrainian vareniki, but vareniki with the meat and all chicken is not Ukrainian dish.
We've got a comment and a question from Oksana Chabanyuk. Your activity is directed not only on the management of restaurant and promotion of Ukrainian cuisine, but also deep reforms in nutrition at schools. And we talked about this a little bit. What do you think about the content of studying programs at colleges where students study to obtain specialty in cooking?
That's what I'm doing too. I'm doing like a lot. So what the programs which in colleges are USSR programs which have been a bit renovated, because like for the 30 years someone put something new, and there is like colleges which have quite nice program, but it just is a small amount. Mostly it's cooks have been studied to cook some dishes which are not exist now. And then when they get diplomas and they come to the restaurants to work, chef asks them tell some techniques, and they say we don't know the techniques. We know all techniques. So actually, I went to the Ministry of Education. I signed the contract, like it's not financial contract, it's just the memorandum. And I'm already 1.5 years. I took one college and we are changing the program. We did 1.5 years more. So it's going to be totally 3 years of the studying. And we're changing totally changing the program. Like 75% of everything is going to be new. Starting with they will start to cook the different sauces like bechamel. They start to cook tortellini. They will know how to cook risotto, minestrone. Also, they will have 3 lessons of the borshch because it's very important. They will be teach how to cook new dishes in school canteens, and in 3 years, after 3 years, it's going to be official program for the all colleges in Ukraine, and it's going to be for free. So we will have a new program in 3 years too, and it will help to. It will be useful, and that I think this program will help for the new generation of chefs in the future.
And probably the last question from our audience, what's the status of vegetarianism and veganism in Ukraine right now? How compatible are these practices, philosophies with traditional Ukrainian cuisine? Thank you so much.
I told you, in Ukraine, we were 300 years ago, we were vegetarians, because if you eat meat, it means that you are rich. It's not good to kill the cow because it gives you a milk. And you kill cow only if it's old, and the same with the pigs. You killed pigs only for them, only for some Easter or weddings, something like that. So actually, it is we had to be vegetarians. How it comes that we start to eat a lot of meat, I don't know. If to say all around Ukraine. The same problem about money, the same problem about the pyramid, Maslow pyramid. So people don't think about vegetarian, because if you will eat only one vegetables and you work hard to earn money, and then you eat vegetables and it's not enough for you, not enough of these all elements, and you start to be angry, and that's why we are like meat country. So we eat a lot of meat, like a huge amount. And during the coronavirus, during the first lockdown, the selling of the meat increases for the 40%. So it's not good, but I think in a lot of countries the same situation. But if you will say about vegetarian and veganism, it's in this new nutrition in the schools, we put this information. So even in schools, people can students can have the vegetarian dishes. It's a huge community of people who don't eat. I have a lot of friends, who don't eat meat, and they're trying to eat less meat. So it's still not so well spread. If I will go, we have only maybe 5 restaurants. I think 3 restaurants vegetarian, maybe 5 vegetarian restaurants. It's like not much at all, yeah. And but we have in all restaurants already this leaves, like you put leaf, it means that is vegetarian dish. So it's changed, but we need like 5-10 more years, and we will see how it will happen. So mostly, if you're vegetarian, you can eat something vegetarian in a lot of restaurants in Odessa, in Kiev, in Dnipro, in Lviv. But if you go to the small region places, I think there is no vegetarian things. But the same, I think, in Austria, the same in US. It's not like a so well spread. So situations like that.
Well, and to conclude our conversation today, just maybe 3-5 dishes that you would offer to someone who is not very well familiar with Ukrainian food.
Yeah, you should go to my site, klopotenko.com, and you can prove already. Today we started English version, and we have already
good. Congratulations.
60 or 70 recipes from by English, on English, So it's very nice. I think it's Ukrainian recipes, no, it's not good, but it's a lot of different recipes, But 5 dishes. First one is called hamula. It's when you take the baked apples and you're making puree from like just puree from baked apples. And then you add the flour, you add some eggs, and you mix it, and you will cook it again, and you have some nice apple cookies. It's called hamula. It's from the Daria side. Then you have galushki. It's the easiest thing. You take the flour. You add some kefir if you have. If you don't have kefir, you can add some, I don't know, dairy product, and you mix it. Add some salt, 1 egg. And then you mix it like you have some dough, and then you like. I don't know how to say it. Which you take the part of the dough and put in the boiled water, and you boil it for 2 minutes, and you have halushki. And then you can add or cherries or meat and cherries or everything what you want, and you will have such nice meaty dough, like cherry dough things. Also, yeah, borshch. It's you should cook the stock. Just doesn't matter what stock, or vegetarian or meat. Then you should add as much as you can. Add the beets, for example. You can cook beets and then add, or maybe you can add a little of beetroot juice. Just you can do whatever you want, and then you can add the. If you have nice stock and a lot of taste of beets, then you can add everything you want. You can add all the products which you will find there, and you will have the borshch. I don't know. First, the dish. It's you take the kvass, it's fermented, you can buy in some shop, I think. You take fermented bread drink, and you add to this some meat for ribs, for example, and you cook it for a nice Ukrainian dish. And you can have like something. You can have something like you told the dumplings, yeah, this vareniki with the poppy seeds. You should take poppy seeds, add a lot of hot water, sugar. You should mix it together, and then you put in this dough for vareniki, and that's all.
Well, thank you so much, Ievgen. Thank you so much for accepting this invitation to give this talk today, and for your generosity addressing all the questions. We are looking forward to Ukrainian restaurant, which is about to open.
I'm waiting in my restaurant, so come to Ukraine and eat Ukrainian cuisine.
Thank you, Ievgen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for attending our talk today with Ievgen Klopotenko about Ukrainian cuisine, and information about upcoming events will be available on our Facebook page and on our UkrSO listserv. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel and to Ievgen Klopotenko's YouTube channel as well to stay tuned and updated. Thank you.
Take care.